Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man!
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared. Be kind, be honest, be courageous. I wanna be a leader, don't be afraid. A voice whispers inside, you have the power to change the wrong. Bring vision the past, build the future. Plant positive in your garden and watch it grow. I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared.
Howdy, gang. Hey, the poet, and welcome to yet another My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. And here in a little bit, we're going to get to chapter 5 of this series that I've been doing for a little bit. This is going to be, the topic is going to be Don't Spread Gossip, It's Gospel. And we're going to get to that here in just a little bit. But as usual, I want to do a little housekeeping stuff. Still not feeling great. I've got to return to work tomorrow. So I'm going to do the best that I can. But again, if I seem to not be on my A game, that is why. Been dealing with quite a bit mentally and physically lately. So I won't bore y'all with the gory details, but just so you know, if I seem a little off my game, that's why. But let me just share with you guys and gals the programming we've got on the channel right now and what I have coming up. So we have Evil Dead Chick Slasher Fest for New Year's Evil. My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, Chapter 3, Forgiveness is Key. A celluloid trash talking about the video Dead and Attack of the Beast creatures. The first episode of Horror Mania, talking about horror movies from 1896 to 1899. Insomnia Cure, talking about films that I feel will put you to sleep from 1982 to 1983. They're all messed up. Talking about Mary, Mary, Bloody Mary, and Strict Nude for Your Killer. Evil Dead Chicks Top 10 Don't Horror Films. My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, Chapter 4, Don't Play the Blame Game. A celluloid trash talking about Beyond the Seventh Door and Black Devil Doll from Hell. The second Horror Mania episode talking about horror films from 1900 to 1905. An Insomnia Cure talking about films that I think would put you to sleep from 1984 to 1985. They're all messed up, talking about Psychic Killer and Psycho from Texas. Evil Dead Chicks Top 10 Religious Horror Films. And we had the Misery Watch Along last night. For those of you that were able to join me live, again, I thank you. For those of you that had to watch it on a replay, hey, I thank you as well. And that brings us up to the current. We're going to have more celluloid trash. We're going to have more Horror Mania, more Insomnia Cure, more They're All Messed Up, and another My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade this next Sunday. Haters going to hate, but do they need to? Some of the videos I've got coming or on there right now, I have a movie munchies for Billy's Black Christmas Cookies. Final thoughts on Stranger Things since that series has recently ended. Pick Your Poison taste test for Stranger Things Gatorade Upside Down Citrus Cooler. The first We Watch Movies, which is episode 8 of the new year that Steve and I did. I've got another one, episode 9, that I've got to put up here soon. And a Midnight Confessions on Final Exam. Plus, we got lots of good stuff in the works, including an Evil Dead Chicks Be My Deadly Valentine slumber party, where hopefully several of us will be watching Schizoid. And The Shining, by the way, won out for the watch-along movie choice for January 31st. I still have one old poll where My Bloody Valentine is still winning for Saturday, February 14th. You guys and gals have already started voting for the Saturday, March 14th watch-along choices. The Changeling is in the lead with 60% of the votes, but we've got Phantasm and the Crazies also on there from 1973. Okay, so that pretty much brings us up to date on what's going on with me and the channel. And so without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with the topic of this, my path to becoming a positive renegade. Don't spread gossip as gospel. And this is pretty much one of those golden rule type of things for me, is that just because you hear something, and this not only applies to social media, it not only applies to the internet, it applies to real life. Because we all know that just because you hear something doesn't mean it's the truth, right? So, little hypothetical situation here. You have a channel on YouTube, or you have an Instagram presence, or whatever it is that you have on the internet, and someone else has a channel or an Instagram presence, and you hear, yes, the original Changeling, not the remake, the poet. Yes, it'll definitely be the original. I accept no substitutes when it comes to a film like The Changeling. So let's say person A heard something bad about person B. There's 2 ways you can go about it, and it's real simple. You can either accept what somebody said about person B as gospel and jump on the bandwagon and be against that person, or you can try to figure out for yourself, right? And you may figure out in your research that it's one of 2 ways, that was true or it was untrue. But when you want to find out for yourself, instead of just assuming that person that was spreading this about person B was, telling the truth. Because people take license with things, unfortunately. They take license with things. Sorry, folks. Somebody was messaging me. I'll respond to that a little later when I'm not doing the stream. But people can have a beef with somebody. And I'm not saying that all people that have a beef with somebody make up stories, but it's entirely possible. It happens in the workplace even, folks. Like I said, these same exact principles that I'm talking to you guys about, the same situations can happen in real life. They can happen on the job. They can happen amongst family members. Because when people get angry with someone, they can twist the truth. They can make up outright lies. They can put things out of context. They can do a lot of things. So you kind of have to become Sherlock Holmes. If you want to find out the real truth, it's better to find it out for yourself rather than go by what somebody else is saying. And that's the big part of what I wanted to talk about on this. You keep your thoughts to yourself. Well, that's another way to go about it, the poet. You know, like your mom always told you, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So that's a very, very good point to bring up. But what I'm saying too is if you hear something from a second or third party that can't keep their thoughts to themselves, I'm saying it would be better if you know, went about it in a better way than just jumping on the bandwagon and saying and hating on this person because of something one person said. And that happens too many times, unfortunately, especially on social media. Whether somebody spreads something about somebody's channel or about the person that runs the channel on YouTube, about somebody on Facebook, about somebody on Instagram, Twitter, it does not matter. And I see it happen over and over and over again. And a friend of mine used to call this dogpiling on somebody. They'd say, well, that person got dogpiled or you got dogpiled on. And I thought that was a very accurate description of some things that I've seen happen to other people, some things that have happened to me. And again, folks, I put myself into this because I have jumped on the bandwagon. I have done these things. I am not absolving myself of anything when I tell you this stuff. But my point with doing these is to help people stay out of the traps that I fell into and that many people have fallen into. So that, you know, we don't lose friendships. We don't lose our credibility if we have a YouTube channel. You know, we don't get hated on for no good reason by large groups of people who are just listening to the person ahead of them. You know that game that you play where you whisper something to somebody, one person, and they may hear it a different way. They whisper it to the next person. By the time it gets to that last person in line or in the circle or whatever, it could be something totally different than what was started out. That ties into don't spread gossip as gospel either, or two, because sometimes stories get embellished. They get things added to them and they become wildly different than what it started out as. And they get overblown, they get exaggerated, and things get completely out of control. Okay. And everybody knows that that has happened. Now, I talked about things being presented out of context. This ties in with these things too. Let's say, for instance, that you leave a voicemail for someone and you leave a voicemail in response to someone verbally attacking you. Let's say they left you a voicemail first, or they called you and you picked up and they just started just in on you. And you're like, whoa, where did this come from? Now, I'm not saying that this is right, but people's first instinct a lot of times is to try to protect themselves. It's like, why are you doing this to me? And their first instinct may be to be angry, and they may say things, right or wrong. They may say things or call that person names that under normal circumstances they would not. Now, I'm not saying that either side is right on this, but human nature a lot of times dictates that if you feel like you're being attacked verbally by someone or through a text or whatever, your first instinct a lot of times is to respond in kind, right? So let's say that you were attacked verbally or by text, Facebook message, whatever. And before you could even think about it, you were just so upset or so enraged that this person would dare to say something like this to you, just attack you out of the blue, that you say a few choice words to them, you leave a voicemail or a voice text or another Facebook message or whatever. And the person that receives this doesn't take too kindly and spreads that to someone else, either someone close to them or someone they're friends with. And this is why I have learned to not leave everybody voice messages on Messenger. I learned my lesson, because what can happen sometimes is somebody will take your voice message, and it's clearly your voice and stuff. After you were attacked, you're trying to take up for yourself. You're trying to like I said, protect yourself, take up for yourself, defend yourself. And you may call somebody a name. If it's a woman or something, you might call them a bitch or something. Without even thinking, because your first instinct is to do this. And so I learned a very valuable lesson. Don't leave just anybody voice messages, because it can be used against you and be used out of context, taken out of context. And so, fair warning, that can happen, and someone can use it in a video or a live stream, and they can just play that straight verbatim without any background, without any context. What are people going to think when they hear you calling somebody a bitch or some other names, or without any background to, okay, well, person A sent a text attacking person B. Person B, just on instinct, responds back, not thinking that this might be used on a video or a live stream. Right? So this is a warning and a lesson, kind of all in one. Is don't get in the habit, and don't get lazy like I did and just leave everybody voice messages, because it can come back to bite you in the ass in a big way. So that's the warning there. But for the people that would take something like that and would use it out of context, you need to be checking yourself too. Because what kind of person, what kind of personality would a person have to be that dirty, right? Without any explanation behind it about what preceded this, so just be very careful. Be very careful. And there may be those of you that never leave voice messages, like on Facebook Messenger. You may just type everything out, which it's good to be careful about that too. But especially with voice messages, because everybody that knows who you are is going to say, well, that's their voice. Why are they saying that? If they don't have any context about it, then they're going to think, oh my gosh, this person's crazy. Right? Why are they sending such an awful voice message to this other person? Right? And it's kind of hard to go back and defend yourself after stuff like that's already out there. So, yeah, the people that do those sorts of things and replay messages like that on a live stream or video, that is not the making of a very nice person either. But that's a person that wants revenge for something. But it's also good to be wary, to kind of check yourself especially before you send any kind of voice message to anybody. So now I don't send voice messages to anybody other than like really close friends that I know that I can trust, that's not going to take this and make it overblown. So little warning there, a little lesson there for you folks on both sides of the thing. Although I really don't expect anybody that would do these type of things to even get anything out of these positive renegade things that I'm doing. And that's not to be mean. That's just to, if somebody's set in their ways, they're hardly going to listen to somebody that they're mad at. Right. So, but I'm putting these things out there hopefully to help others not fall into those same tar pits over and over and over again that I found myself in, or quicksand pits or whatever you want to call them. So, sorry, folks. I do have a little bit of a cough. It's probably because I talk too much, right? So, again, these things are not meant to beat a dead horse or anything like that. It's not to drill things into you or anything like that. They're just little tips along the way, because we are in a different world than we were. We're definitely in a different world than when I was growing up, than when my parents definitely were growing up. We are in a digital age where people can pretty much do and say whatever they please behind a computer screen, behind a phone, behind a whatever, right? And I think a lot of us, not everybody, because there's still some very empathetic people, but I think over time we've lost our sense of empathy. There for a while I felt my own self, losing that sense of empathy. And thank the good Lord up above, I have learned to gain some of it back. And hopefully at some point I'll be able to gain 100% of it back. And anytime I feel myself trying to slide back into those old patterns, that's when I have to say, Dana, okay, slow down, time to put on the brakes, time to back it up a little bit. And, like I said, I have to check myself sometimes. The poet, you're right. If you cut ties with someone, there's a good reason behind it. Now, I had to teach myself that very thing, that it's okay to cut ties with people. Because sometimes it's better if you don't remain friends with that person. Because once the facade starts to crack, then that something wasn't right for a long time, if it ever was right. And it's sad sometimes, but it's a lesson. It was a hard lesson for me to learn, but I think I finally learned it. And with certain people, all I want is, I don't want them to talk to me. I don't really want to talk to them, but I want the war to be over, if that makes any sense. I just want the trying to get back at one another to stop, because I've stopped trying to get back at anybody. I realized that was not the right thing to do. Number one, it was a losing battle. Number two, but like I said, I have noticed, and I'm not going to get real personal about it, but I have noticed damage to my YouTube channel. Again, I'm not a super popular YouTuber, and I probably never will be, and that's okay. I have people that want to watch my stuff, and that's fantastic. And it may just be that I'm going to be a smaller channel, and that's okay. But the damage I'm talking about to my channel is that you don't always see these dislikes on your videos and your streams. And I don't normally go on anybody's videos, whether it's somebody I know or somebody I don't know, whether it's somebody I like or I don't like, and go and dislike their videos. Because you know why? Why would I do that? Why would I mess up their algorithms on purpose? Right? Well, several people, I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're connected with people I've had trouble with in the past, or they're just trolls, right? But it seemed to come about when I had my troubles. So people have been going and disliking a lot of my more popular videos, or videos where I talk about Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel, which I don't know why. Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel is a cartoon character that I created that is a mashup with Ozzy Osbourne and a squirrel. So, instead of disliking my videos that I do on Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel, I just think he's a cute little character, and Poe's a cute little character that I have created for my channel. I didn't create Ozzy Osbourne, but I did create that mashup between Ozzy Osbourne and a squirrel, and I think he's a cute little character. And I'm not trying to ride on the coattails of Ozzy Osbourne or trying to profit off his death or anything like that. I was a belated fan of Ozzy Osbourne, and I just thought that that was a cute little character to add to my videos. So I don't know, again, if it's trolls or it's people that I've angered in the past, and they're just going through and I don't even know if they're watching the videos or they're just clicking that they dislike them. But people, no matter who does these kind of things, whether they're doing it to me and others, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's a really crappy thing to do to somebody. And so during this particular time period, I've had a lot of dislikes on certain videos. Sometimes it's more popular videos. Sometimes it's the stuff that has Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel on it. And I think whoever's doing it knows exactly what they're doing, and that they know that it messes your algorithms up for your channel. I've had trolls come in the middle of my streams, and I just ignore it and ban the person or block the person. I don't even respond to them. I learned that real quick. It's best not to respond. So, I know that I've angered people. I don't know what to do about it. But all I'm trying to do with, there's always 2 or 3 people that dislike these positive renegades, because I don't know if they feel like it's about them or what. But it's not. It's about the state of the internet and social media and how we interact with each other. That's all these things are about. And I said that I was not going to talk much about my troubles, but this just in general, does it make me angry sometimes that people are doing this on purpose? Yeah, it does. Does it make me sad? Yeah, it does. But here's something else. The more people do stuff like that, the more it makes me want to put out more quality programming. It makes me work harder. I wish they wouldn't dislike my videos and mess up my algorithms and mess up my views and stuff like that. But, I can't make them stop. I could ask them to, but I can't make them stop. And maybe, maybe in time they'll learn that that's a pretty childish way to react. And it would be better just if you don't have your own channel, go ahead and start your own channel, do your own thing. I've always maintained that. Don't be mad at somebody or heaven forbid be jealous of somebody. I'm not saying anybody's jealous of me. I don't know. But if you are jealous of somebody, then start your own channel or beef up your own channel, do your own original programming and move on with your life. That's what I'm trying to do. And if you do that, you won't have time to be going and disliking other people's videos. And honestly, does it make you feel better to go dislike somebody else's videos? I don't think so, But anyway, I'm just going on and on. But like I say, I could go on and beat a dead horse about these things, but I usually like to keep these things short, about 30 minutes or so. So I think I've talked enough about don't spread gossip as gospel. I think the poet and anybody else that was watching along tonight understands what I'm talking about with this. So the poet, thank you for hanging out in the chat with me tonight. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to finish up my graphic design class and get scheduled for another one because I'm eager to learn more new stuff. That's not only maybe going to help me start a new career, but also, help me with my YouTube channel, help me with my shop and all of that. So if you didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or you were using a device to watch this live stream like a television and you were not able to chat, I thank you for watching as well. And for those of you that didn't get to join me live but will watch this on the replay, I appreciate you guys and gals as well. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Stay tuned tomorrow night, hopefully at 8 p.m. Eastern time for another celluloid trash. And I'll see everybody next time.
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better.